Thank you, Dan Hodges, for that very nice speech. Did go half a minute over time, but I guess I'll have to let you off of that. So Dan Hodges, so an 8.5 minute speech summed up his admission of the UK, for better choice of words, screwing up. And he also noted that the economic case for immigration can't be ignored. That the economic case is always going to be positive, and that the actual public sector relies on immigrants, and we wouldn't be the same country without it. He also said that to stop immigration completely is not a realisable goal. Now you probably saw that Alp Mehmet sat next to me today, right now, as Dan came. So Dan, Alp, Dan. Sorry to throw you in the deep end, Alp, but you're actually going next. I'll talk you through. Alp actually came to the UK when he was 8 years old and couldn't speak a word of English when he came here. And still can't. So it's a bit of a gamble inviting him up to speak at the York Union event. Hopefully we can. He's had an absolutely fantastic career, always centering on foreign affairs and immigration. After quite a glittering career, and you worked in Kenya as well, didn't you, for a good number of years? Nigeria, sorry. He was actually appointed the UK's ambassador to Iceland from 2004 to 2008, the first immigrant, non-UK born ambassador the country's ever had. And he now sits on the committee of Migration Watch UK, and is actually vice chairman of that. So welcome, Alp Mehmet.
Thank you very much for that very kind, very generous introduction. And I'm very sorry, Dan, the great Dan Hodges. I was looking forward to hearing what he was going to say, so I'm sorry I missed it, but I'm sure that we'll come back to it. I'm also sorry that I really came in on a rather depressing note from Dan. Immigration is something that we can do we should be doing something about, but unfortunately we can't. Of course we can, for goodness sake. Let me, a few confessions first of all, if I may. I'm totally in favour of immigration. I think that the debate has changed significantly since the 1960s and 70s. Certainly more or less white faces here tonight. Normally there's a sprinkling of black, brown, all sorts of colours, and that's the nation that we are now. And one of the fantastic things that has happened since I came here in the mid-50s is that now you look at people like me, whoever here, you don't immediately think foreigner, English. You only have to look at our football teams, our cricket teams, our sporting teams generally, just to see that we are a pretty mixed bunch. This debate is about curbing immigration. Well, curbing to me suggests stop it, no more, unrestrained, the opposite of unrestrained, the opposite of having uncontrolled immigration. Now, who in this room, given an opportunity, would say, let's have no borders, no controls, anyone who wants to wants to come to this country can? Is there anyone here who would like to see a totally open border with anyone and everyone from around the world being able to come in here, set up home, work?
Provided it were multilateral.
No qualifications. No qualifications. Right. So that's very much a minority. I am not suggesting that we should stop immigration. I'm not suggesting that we should today say to all the foreign people in this country, go back. That would probably be me as well. What I'm saying is that we want controlled, sensible, measured immigration. That is in the interests of everyone in this country, including immigrants. And believe it or not, the sort of people that come to Migration Watch and say, for goodness sake, do something about it, you're in a position to influence the government, tell them to stop immigration immediately. And if you're one of the 30% unemployed Bangladeshis in the West Midlands, frankly, I can understand why. If you're trying to find a place for your child in school and being told, no, there's no place, you've got to look elsewhere, I can understand why. It's not stopping immigration completely, it's having measured immigration. And the government has had a measure of success. When it came into office, the net migration figure was 252,000. That's 252,000 more people arriving than actually left. We're talking about net migration. Net migration, frankly, I don't understand sometimes why those who are in favour of more migration, more immigration, why they're against this net migration target, because that actually means that more people can come here. And even if you had the same number of people leaving as arrived, zero net migration, that still means a hell of a lot of immigration. Probably 400,000 people. I have no problem with that. Where Migration Watch comes from is what what immigration does to population growth. Population growth over the next 12 years, 13 years, we're going to see a population increase of something like 4 million. We are, sorry, more than that, 7 million, 6.5 million. We're going to go up to 70 million people within 12 years. That is phenomenal. We're going to need more houses. The House of Commons Library recently came up with a figure of something over 600,000 new homes households being formed as a result of immigration. Think of the houses that means. Think of the schools that means. Think of the additional teachers that means. When I arrived in this country in 1956, I went to a school in the East End of London, in Bethnal Green. I was the only child in that school that didn't speak English. I was the only child that was effectively foreign. There were a few Scots and Welsh, but we won't count those. I was the only child. Now imagine, I went back to that school just a few years ago, almost 50 years actually, after I'd been in year 5 or whatever it's called now, and had a photograph taken with the same class, the same age group that I arrived in the school and in the mid-50s. It was a revelation. Suddenly, instead of 1, 2 people, something like 95% of the children in that class were either immigrants, first generation, or second generation, direct or indirect immigrants. No problem, no problem. I have no worry at all about that. But just think how much more difficult it is to integrate groups of people when they arrive at that sort of rate, at that sort of speed. That's what concerns me. I want to see a society where we're all at ease with ourselves, not one where we're constantly struggling to find teachers, constantly struggling to educate children, constantly struggling to help people fit into this society, to become a part of it. I'd like to believe that those early days I had in this country, I was helped to become a part of this society. I can't change the way I look. I don't want to change my name. I still remain someone who's not exactly Anglo-Saxon. Although I have to say, there was, I was working for a minister, there was a baroness something or other called one day to talk to the minister, and she said, "Oh, you're new here, aren't you?" I said, "Yes, ma'am." She said, "What's your name?" I said, "Alp Mehmet." "Is that Cornish?" She said.
30 seconds, sorry.
30 seconds?
Yeah.
Is that 8.5 minutes?
Yeah.
Right, okay then. Splendid. Integration. That's really what my greatest concern is. Integration. But secondly, it's about democracy as well. The vast majority of people in this country actually don't want mass immigration. They want reasonable, steady, sensible immigration. That's what I want. Not curb it, control it, make it sensible.